My name is Mel Hebert. I'm the author of Simple Obtainable Solutions. It's a constitutional plan to restore individual freedoms and liberties now and into the future. 95% of this book is in this video. If you see anything you want to copy, just stop the video and do a screenshot. 4 pages following have borders around them. Please print these pages. Before you decide this video is too long, is 20 minutes of your time worth restoring our liberties and freedoms? The constitutional plan I present is effective, well-defined, and very swift. It does not rely on presidents, Congress, or our courts agreeing and then flip-flopping. As a nation, we are not required to protest. A goal without a plan is only a wish. It's time. Be part of the solution. Over an 8-year period, I've spent countless hours uncovering 100% of the truth about political agendas, not partial truth. This video shows America's most dangerous threat, omissions of truth in government-controlled mainstream media. This allows evil government atrocities to escalate, all without our knowledge. As this poster says, 95% Americans won't do anything. This constitutional plan needs you, that 5% that will. Still don't believe me? As time allows, watch these videos below, then you decide. Sovereign states have had victories, all without our knowledge. Here are 2 big wins we never heard about. Kansas governor pushed back after Holder calls pro-gun law unconstitutional. Sheriff's warning the feds, stop harassing us or we will arrest you. Watch what happens. Government knows no rule of law equals more control. More control, more chaos. More chaos, more division. Government applies purposeful sequences of misguidance in order to confuse and divide us. More chaos lulls Americans into deliberate complacency. It's that simple, and that's all they give us is more chaos. This simple obtainable solutions plan offers a concerted effort in conjunction with Article 5 Convention of States and state nullification. Government-infused political correctness gives Americans a fictitious clarification of how our dangerous world should be perceived. During crime investigations, police always start from the crime scene and work backwards. Because politics is always an active crime scene, my investigative fact-finding will be a little different. This plan will work because we now have some 32 governors who flat out refuse any Syrian refugees into their states. Is this the catalyst to move this plan along? Is government-controlled media allowing governors to actually know what is going on in their states? You decide.
They don't even communicate to us. We know that they've been placing refugees in states, including ours, without even communicating to us.
Well, let me stop you here. So you have refugees from around the world in New Jersey that you don't even know about?
Correct.
Is that right?
The administration places them directly with non-governmental organizations, and they do not even give the administration in the state the courtesy of the information.
Give me an example of that. Do you have
we have about 75 Syrian refugees that have come in since January into New Jersey that we were never advised about, ever.
And where are they now?
Well, now we're trying to find them throughout by going to the non-governmental organizations,
so like Catholic charities?
Like Catholic charities and others who place them, but the administration places them directly through those organizations.
And the Catholic charities and the other charities, they're not obligated to tell you that they're not doing it?
They're not.
So they just show up, these people?
And I wrote to them, I said, you don't even show us the courtesy of telling us that you're going to put people into our states, and you're doing it already anyway.
Fact, Barack Obama is the hardest man on planet Earth to publicly embarrass. Daily we read, Obama is furious and caught in a lie. Tries to restore his credibility. He's not furious. He's not trying to restore his credibility. Daily, this president dangerously marches his agendas forward. Our goals become obvious and well-defined. We must not allow this control to continue. Our president unwillingly includes all of America in what I call Obama's WIMP offense and defense. Willful, intentional, malicious politics will intentionally misinform the public. Collectively, all of his WIMPs will include more politics. You can be assured it will infiltrate more people. By being silent, we the people unwillingly stand by this president as he continues his WIMP. World Islamic movement predetermined. Secretly, he won't ignore Muslim promises. Appointed by President Obama on July 28, 2015, Fatima Noor was born in Somalia. She is a special assistant for U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. She's located inside the Department of Homeland Security. Just 2 hours after the San Bernardino terrorist attacks, it is said that Fatima gave the Islamic group CARE prepared statements. The Council on American Islamic Relations made a televised announcement to the world thwarting the FBI's efforts to be the first to announce these attacks. This Mark Levin podcast gives us a better understanding of what Barack Obama pre-planned before the 2008 presidential elections and the evil that waits America.
With a dear friend of mine, a great patriot, Dr. Michael Ledeen. He's the Freedom Scholar at the Foundation of Defense for Democracies. Mike, how are you, my friend?
I'm aging gracefully. How are you?
Well, I hope I am too. Yeah. And by the way, folks, Michael and I became particularly friendly when I was in the hospital with bypass surgery and he had major back surgery. So it's like two old men in a nursing home talking to each other on the phone. But Michael Ledeen, you've got a long pedigree and expertise in foreign policy, particularly the Middle East, particularly Iran. You have a breaking bit of information and news for my audience, and I'd like you to present it because this puts things in perspective. Go right ahead.
During the election campaign of 2008, that is before he was elected president, Obama sent a private emissary to Tehran to talk to the Iranians and to tell them that he was going to be elected president and that once that happened, the whole relationship between the United States and Iran would change. That the centerpiece of Obama's Middle East policy is an alliance, a working alliance with the Iranians. And I think if you look back over the last 6 years with that in mind, you can see that. Even today, all the various decisions that are made about the war in Syria and Iraq and so forth are all things that the Iranians welcome. Mm-hmm. And he's not doing anything that makes Iran's life difficult. He's doing everything that makes Iran's life easier. And he's not doing anything to try and stop them, really, anything effective or serious, from building these nukes, is he? No, he isn't. The Iranians are just taking him for a ride. They think they can get anything they want from him. And why shouldn't they? Because he told them that they could from the very beginning, from before he was president.
But here's the breaking news. You're telling my audience and me, and I didn't know this, that in 2008, before Obama became president, he sent Ambassador Miller on a secret trip to Tehran to let that regime know that things would be different when he becomes president of the United States. Here's the big story. Obama sent an emissary, former Ambassador Miller, to Tehran in 2008 during the campaign to tell them that Obama would be a friend and that the whole world would change.
In politics, the one who lies first gets to continue that lie. So is global warming really our most important issue? The passion that drives politicians is power and money. Our passion, survival. Do I have your attention yet? Is it a con or a coincidence that every time Obama wants to strip Americans of more freedoms, he miraculously becomes silent for a few weeks and something always happens? Will the passing of Justice Scalia allow this president to escalate liberal agendas and his Superior Court pick be the deciding factor stripping us of our Second Amendment right to bear arms? Before you say, "Come and get my guns," provoking a revolution, I urge you to go to my website, simpleobtainablesolutions.com. Please read and print the 2 lost pages never published in my book. Then print snapshots 1 and 2. Have these pages in your hands as you watch the rest of this video. During a national catastrophe that President Obama selects, like an Iranian nuclear EMP attack, he'll tell America, "We were blindsided. If we wait any longer, I believe thousands could die." Are we ready for more of this? What makes us think they won't use this method again and again, putting their spin on things and skating around issues over and over, keeping the Barack-Hillary debt plan alive, deflect everything, buy time. Political DNA, do nothing, America, deliver nothing, America. Risk, trust your instincts. We need to combine three vitally important things in order to keep our freedoms and liberties alive here in the United States. We must never waver from our clarity of purpose or our rules of engagement. We must never lose our RPM, restrict political moves. We can still have a peaceful solution in gaining control of tyrannical government. Our time to act is now. I believe that our founding fathers created nullification in Article 5 Convention of States to defensively combat government tyranny. What our founding fathers didn't fathom is that Americans would allow our government to get so far out of control. What this well-defined SOS plan does is provide Americans with immediate solutions, all without hindering any of the powers of Article 5 or state nullification. The anti-commandeering doctrine says states do not have to comply. Most Americans still believe that the federal government stands absolutely supreme. Nobody can question what it dictates, refuse its directives, resist its commands. This is not true. Most federal power extends into only a few defined areas. Authority was left to the states and the people. Federal government cannot force states or local government to cooperate in any enforcement or implementation against their will. Government cannot withhold funds in a coercive manner. Example, the federal government cannot compel states to expand Medicaid by threatening to withhold funding already in place. It is illegal. I lost count how many times Barack Obama and Eric Holder have violated this doctrine. Our defined clarity of purpose, Citizens Day voting. Voting from 2 to 4 times a year on 40 national revisions, up to 160 pressing issues every year we need to change, rescind, or enforce. Our very first Citizens Day, July 15th, 2016. As a nation, no matter what national proposals we put on our ballots, our collective votes will always enforce our majority decisions. Our Citizens Day votes will ultimately come down to cease and desist. Voting machines will be positioned at convenient polling locations within the confines of all the United States, identical if not the same ones, same locations on any election day. All 50 states will cast ballots for specific laws we want rescinded or passed. All ballots will be numbered, worded exactly the same. Voter ID is required, majority vote rules. National proposals we pass will become law or tell Congress rescind an existing law. Restrictions. Government has 30 days to comply to our Citizens Day vote. Example. Number 1. This is from a brilliant patriot, Chris Ann Hall. Before any proposed law is even written up, our government must show the American people where in the original U.S. Constitution that gives them the authority to even propose this new law. Wow, I know what all of you are saying. Wow, let's go to a party. Let's go to a barbecue. That takes care of it all. Ooh, this is just the beginning of our job. Number 2, all agencies will enforce every law 100% no matter who is being investigated or who is at fault. Any verbiage written that allows blatant, unlawful acts or gives an agency the power to enforce or not enforce a law, now illegal. The Public Integrity section of the DOJ refuses to investigate Hillary Clinton. The DOJ can choose to stop all criminal investigations and not prosecute someone if it affects the outcome of an election. How convenient. No longer accepted. One bill, one law, no more hidden language or hidden funding, period. No bill will ever be too long for anyone to comprehend or read. All potential laws introduced will be passed and be given in writing to Congress and the President 30 days before the actual vote of any bill. All Americans can view them online as well. Secure our borders. During Obama's administration, we finished a wall that was started in 2006. Funds were already allocated. Where are all these funds? There are well in excess of 25 projects that were started and never completed. Funds were allocated. Government DNA. Do Nothing America strikes once again. Our U.S. Armed Forces will join forces with ICE in order to prevent illegal crossings. If fired upon, they'll have the authority to fire back. The decision-making is now in our hands. 30-day political time limits. Adhere to what the American people want done, or you are in violation. The easiest fixes can be the most effective. What we want right now, President Obama to exclude us from failed policies both nationally and internationally. We no longer want to play the victim to dangerous circumstances our president creates. Have your own ideas? Send suggestions to info@simpleobtainablesolutions.com. Right now, we are not looking to rescind any Supreme Court decisions. Abolish the Electoral College before the 2016 elections. This has been debated for over 50 years. In the 2008 presidential elections, Democrats received 55 of California's electoral votes. The rest of the almost 4.5 million votes didn't count. With modern day computers, it's time to have all our collective votes count. Is this the main reason why voter turnout is so low in most elections? But beware, a George Soros-backed program, the National Popular Vote Compact, claims to abolish the Electoral College. It is secretly designed to strip states of their constitutional amendment processes and state sovereignty. This can never be allowed. No pacts of any kind with the United Nations or any foreign government or people that violates our U.S. Constitution and Bill of Rights. No awarding or giving of federal lands to foreign governments or individuals. Any and all lobbying is illegal. If this is not feasible in the 30-day time limit, all lobbying efforts must be nationally televised for everyone to view with full financial disclosures made public before any funds are distributed. Any meetings happening behind closed doors is now against the law. Arrest of that official, along with the people bribing them, punishment to the full extent of the law. At no time can any foreign entity or person contribute to a foundation of a political candidate or other foundations, both American or foreign, knowing full well that those funds are there to circumvent campaign finance laws in doing so. No private funding of a bill. Presidential pardons illegal. Reintroductions of a proposed law that was already voted down no longer accepted. No more subsidies or government guaranteed loans to businesses, including Ex-Im Bank. Note, this concept that follows before a presidential election can't be backed up by the U.S. Constitution or Bill of Rights. But we all know that candidates will say almost anything to get elected. So now we want candidates to back up in writing their answers to 100 yes or no questions the voting public, not the media, provides to them. The candidates that adheres in writing to these questions may be the most electable candidates after all. All candidate proposals are in my last chapter and will take up too much time. As the majority, we will hold constitutional violations of our rights as one of the highest crimes in America. Enough! No more ridiculous solutions to problems that don't exist. Rule book, the original U.S. Constitution. Enforcing that rule book, Citizens' Day voting up to 4 times per year. We will never allow our government to go unchecked from now on. Let's all stand united and tell the government, no, this law doesn't exist in any of these United States. I believe our Citizens' Day voting is the best way to swiftly restore America's freedoms. It will open the path and enforce both Article 5 and state nullification. Our Citizens' Day will be stimulating to the American people. No lesser of two evils to vote for. Citizens' Day will be like the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, Belmont Stakes, Indianapolis 500, the Super Bowl, Game 7 of the World Series, Martin Luther King Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's Eve, President's Day, and of course, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, and America's Independence Day, all wrapped into one. A truly glorious day indeed. Vote. Vacation's over. Trust the electorate. Our voices will be heard because we are the people, we are the majority, we are the nation, we are Americans. The secret of success in life is for a man to be ready for his time when it comes. In closing, I want to use the words of one of the greatest presidents in American history, Abraham Lincoln. When the time for action has come, the time for preparation has passed. Now is the time for action. Even though we are overtaxed, Americans are still the most giving people on planet Earth. It's time to give, America. Give it all we've got.